Okay, I'm going to make a bread and maybe pizza recipe here. I'm going to use the dough that I come up with to do both. And here are the ingredients. I've got flour, yeast, sugar, oil, salt, and water. So I've got 6 cups of flour, 2/3 of a packet of yeast, 2 tablespoons of sugar, 2 tablespoons and 2 teaspoons of oil, and salt, 2/3 of a teaspoon of salt, and some water, about a cup and a half, warm water, not just out of the tap, but at least 100 degrees, or if not a few degrees more. First thing I'm going to do is take the yeast and put it in the water, and I'll mix it around some. I'm also then going to take the salt, this is sugar, and put it in with the flour and the salt, and shortly the oil, but I'm going to mix this dry ingredients. I'm going to let this sit just to test to see if the yeast is active or not. I'll stir it up a little bit. Really, I could have put the yeast in. Don't like putting it in with the salt from what I've heard, but I'm going to mix the salt in with the flour, so it should have a minimal effect. So let me come back when I'm ready to put the water into the flour mixture. So it's been about 10 minutes or so, and the yeast seems fine. So I'm going to combine the water with the yeast and the oil in and start mixing. So let's go ahead and stick the water in. And I'm going to start mixing first, and then add the oil. So lock it down, get it going a little bit, and then I'll come back when I'm ready to add the oil. So I've let it mix some, so I'm going to add the oil now, and turn it back on, and let it mix again for probably about 5 minutes, and then probably add more water as needed. So after running it for another 5 minutes, it's just about perfect. I'm going to put it in a bowl and let it rise. And I'll probably punch it down once it rises, and then put it in my bread containers or whatever to make pizza. Just because the dough was not as pliable as I would like, I decided they would be best be made for pizza. So I spread it out on one round and one rectangle, and put it in the oven for 30 minutes or so, just to let the dough rest. And then I'll go on to the next step of preparing for cooking. I'll probably do it in 2 steps: sauce first, and then cook it halfway, and then put on the toppings, the additional toppings. Okay, I'm ready to cook it for the first time. On this side, I'm going to use regular olive oil, and on this side I used hot oil. So after the oil, I put on garlic salt, then the sauce, and the sauce is from Italy, San Marzano. I just blended it, and then I added Flatbread cheese, and then a little bit of pepper. So now I'm going to cook it at 350. So after this first cooking here, I'm going to add mozzarella. This is fresh mozzarella. I'll add that to one of them. I have just a little bit of the sliced low moisture. And then on the rectangle one, I'll add pepperoni. That'll be mine with the hot oil. And then a little bit more of the hard cheese. And then a little oil on top, a little oregano. So when I pull them out, I'll show you that. Pizzas are now in the oven at 350. I'll watch the time. I'm gonna make it about 15 minutes. Make sure the crust is golden brown. Got the mozzarella, the pepperoni on one, a little bit of oregano, some macaroni cheese, and we're ready to go. So back in the oven for 20 minutes at 350, and it's looking pretty good. Time to eat.